He's a 10, but he's been married before and then divorced.
It means he's serious about relationships. It means he's not playing. 11.
So if I was married and divorced before, what would you think?
There's a lot of baggage. The most romantic thing I've done was...
He regifted your rose? What a bitch. He doesn't deserve you.
Valentine's Day is about celebrating the relationship, right? Not just you.
Society often shames people for being single, but celebrates people who could be in toxic relationships.
That's why you have goddesses of fertility, gods of fertility, because you need them to encourage people to reproduce. And that's kind of ish what Valentine's Day is as well. It's reminding people, hey, you should really be making babies, because if you don't, we're kind of screwed as a society.
Welcome back. In today's news report, we will be discussing
Valentine's Day. What was your most romantic thing you've done on Valentine's Day?
Okay, so I've got two. The first one was I cooked a whole surprise dinner, 3-course dinner. So I made like an entree, which I think, what was it? It was like handmade ravioli. And then I made mains, which was like handmade chicken pie. And then I made a tiramisu. And then I learned how to do like the chocolate swirls and everything. And then I set up like, you know, the little tea light candles all around the house in the room. And I lit all the candles.
Where are my tea light candles?
They nearly burnt down the house. So
can you explain to everyone what we did? What you did for me Valentine's Day last year?
What did we do? I don't remember. I don't think we did anything.
Nothing.
What did you do for me?
My presence is a gift. My presence enough is a gift.
And my presence is not a gift?
No.
Wow.
I need more. I need tea light candles that smell of roses.
They didn't smell like roses. They were just the cheapest tea light candles you could get from IKEA. So that was the first one. And then the second one, I feel like is even more intense. So I was doing long distance with my ex.
Don't tell me you surprise flew over.
I did. I think I don't know how long ago I planned it. I think I planned it pretty late, but this was a time where flights to and from UK are maybe like 1,100.
Very cheap.
Very cheap.
Pre-COVID.
Yes, pre-COVID. So then, because we would talk every day on message, and I'd be like, okay, I'm going to sleep now, or like, oh, I'm going to be offline for a bit because I had to make up some rubbish excuse because I was on the plane. Because there's 2 legs of flights, which is like a 13-hour and then like another 10-hour or something. Anyway, I had to bullshit him all the way, fly all the way to London, and then from London, another 2 hours train to country town, and then in the country town, the supermarket there is called Tesco, because I arrived at around 10 p.m. to the town. Like, I got to kill 2 hours, wait till it's Valentine's Day. So I walked around the Tesco with my luggage for like 2 hours, bought a rose, and then where he was staying was like 5-minute walk from Tesco. Yes, and then I wheeled my luggage with my little rose all the way to his door, and then at midnight, I knocked on his door, and I was messaging him, obviously, because it's morning in Australia. I'm like, oh, okay, I got to go to work now. I can't remember what the hell I was saying, but then I was like, knock, 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 and he's like, who the fuck's at my door?
At midnight.
It's me! I'm like, happy Valentine's Day, and it's just Valentine's Day. So what's the sweetest thing you've done for Valentine's Day?
All I did was go for dinner.
That's it? You didn't buy them anything? No surprises?
No. Oh, one time during high school, I may or may not have gotten a red rose for a crush who was straight, and then he regifted to a girl.
Given we went to high school together, do I know this boy?
Yeah.
Did he know you were gay?
Yes.
Who did you get the rose for? You didn't tell me this.
I may or may not have already confessed, so he knew, but yes.
He regifted your rose? What a bitch. He doesn't deserve you. Does the girl know that the rose came from you originally?
No.
That's cheating. He's passing off the rose as his own rose. He at least needs to make it known, hey, this guy got me the rose, but I don't know what to do with it.
Was that for Valentine's Day or was that for... I can't actually know. That may have not been Valentine's Day. I think Valentine's Day I got him a box of chocolates.
Guys, he doesn't do any of this for me.
You don't like chocolates.
You can get me other things. It doesn't have to be chocolates.
You don't like flowers. You don't like chocolates.
You can give me money. Just give me a red packet. Hey guys, if you're enjoying our content, the best way you can support us is by subscribing.
This helps us make better videos for all of you.
What's the most romantic thing you've done? I think those are my most romantic things, flying around the world to see my ex-boyfriend. What's the most romantic thing you've done?
The most romantic thing I've done was when I was I did a surprise proposal, surprise public with friends proposal in front of friends, with the ring that we got custom made for our wedding, for the marriage.
You and your ex-husband.
Yes, and who else? What do you mean? And then I picked up the ring, and he did not know that it was finished being made. So I went to pick it up, and then I proposed to him to the song. Guess what it is? A Love Story by Taylor Swift. And I'll show it on the screen.
Peter is you look
There.
so chuffed with yourself that you
I'll show it there.
I got the ring and he didn't know it was ready, and then I did a surprise
So I did-
proposal.
Yes, the very generic, and I'm sure everyone's seen it before, but very romantic.
Which part
proposal.
do you kneel down?
Where it's like, he knelt to the ground and pulled out a ring and said, "Marry me." Julie.
You know how you really have a fear of cringe? Do you feel that is cringe?
That's why I loved him so much. I put myself through that. So why? Why should people not celebrate Valentine's Day?
I don't think it's why people should not celebrate Valentine's Day. I think you need to understand first why people do celebrate Valentine's Day. And I think a lot of it comes from social pressure. You see that your friends are doing stuff for their partners are doing stuff for them, or they've got a date plan. Even at work, people will ask you, "Oh, Valentine's Day is coming up. What are you doing? Got any plans?" Then from like a exposure perspective, when you go to the supermarket, when you pick up newspaper, social media, it's all Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Like chocolates start being on sale, roses start being on sale.
Yes.
It's like,
yep.
hello,
It's everywhere. Yes.
please buy these things to give to your partner to make them feel special. So I don't think people actually are like, oh, this is a day to show love to my partner. I think there is an element of that, but the large majority of people, it's just everyone else is celebrating. I've been told I'm supposed to celebrate it, and this is what I'm supposed to do on that day. So that's what I'm going to do on that day. And I'm not sure whether that's healthy or not.
Healthy for what? The relationship or society, or what do you mean?
For the relationship, I think if you're two people that are very aligned in terms of like you both like celebrating these types of days, which is not a bad thing, but if it's between the couple, if there's alignment that, oh, on Valentine's Day I'm supposed to show love and both people are involved in it, I think it's easy. And there's peace, there's harmony. The issue happens when one person wants to celebrate it and the other person doesn't see value in it. That's where you start getting conflict. It's like, why didn't you buy me roses? What do you mean I'm supposed to buy you roses? But it's Valentine's Day. And? But my friend's boyfriend bought her roses. And? Why didn't you buy me roses? And then it becomes a huge, big argument.
I think counterpoint to what you said, yes, it is over commercialized. Yes, it's can cost money and can cause drama sometimes to some relationships. But counterpoint is that it's a reminder to celebrate your relationship. Because how many days are there really to actually celebrate your relationship, or that remind you to celebrate your relationship?
But these are like commercialized dates. Can you as an individual not set like once a quarter we will go out on a special date? I'll plan this one, you plan the next one, or once every 2 weeks, and that can be our time to celebrate our relationship. Like, definitely agree, it's a good reminder, but I think my point is that a lot of people celebrate it without thinking much about why they're celebrating it. And it's probably, from my perspective, more valuable to set a day once a quarter, once every month, where you go out and have intentional time to celebrate your relationship, appreciate each other, rather than just, in some regard, just like following the herd and celebrating on this one specific day.
But what if it's like
that's anointed?
Like, sure, for the couples that have the ability and time to set out once every month to go on a date. But what if you're too busy? What if you forget?
There's no
You're
such
so
thing as too
busy. Both of you are busy the entire year, working 40 hours a week.
Don't believe this.
Don't have time to go on holidays because you work at McDonald's, so you don't have annual leave.
Doesn't have to be like
you work retail.
Doesn't have to be like an amazing weekend.
And here's your reminder: like, it comes up. Oh, we haven't gone on a date in a while.
So
it's Valentine's Day.
It's not a
How
bad
about let's
thing.
try doing something romantic?
But my question was like, why is it of value to you? Because like, why do you still want me to plan a surprise date?
Well, I may.
that I'm definitely not going to plan.
Well, even if you like were to plan a surprise date, the value is that I think it's like a reminder, like to go on a date. That's it.
So if I planned a surprise date for you at any other time of the year, would you appreciate it less? Would you? But see, you are the type where you could be like, it's not the right time of year to plan a surprise date. Why are we going on a surprise date? I don't want to go.
I don't know how to feel about surprise dates.
But isn't that what you want me to plan for you, a surprise date?
I mean, actually, I wouldn't mind a surprise date as long as it's not like a surprise. Let's get together with 30 people and
Yeah, just like me take you out somewhere.
I hate surprise birthday parties because I'm like, oh, I wasn't planning on talking and socializing with 30 people, but here I am forced to talk to 30 people when I'd rather sit inside and read a book.
Yeah, that's the issue. That's your vibe a lot of the time. So you're like,
I'm shy.
So even the fact, so when you told me, if you plan something, like you suddenly told me if I planned a surprise date for you, that like I could see that you would enjoy it. But like that is contrary to everything else I know about you, where you're like, I'd rather just stay at home.
Well, if the surprise day is only with you and you plan everything, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Okay. So much pressure. But yes, I will not plan this surprise date.
Or we could just stay inside and have fun on the couch. That's also good.
I feel like, but that's like, if I'm going to plan something, I'm not going to plan that. That's like very low effort. Anyway, are you planning anything for me?
No, I don't plan stuff.
Guys, you now know who is the little prince of this relationship.
I'm a baby. I don't plan stuff. I'm a baby.
So back to the point of people celebrating Valentine's Day without thinking about it. How do you approach celebrating Valentine's Day then? Should you celebrate it? Should you not celebrate it?
I think usually by the time Valentine's Day comes around, I already know the person well enough. Or I expect that if it's important to them, they'll talk about it. Like, oh, Valentine's Day is coming up. Do you want to do something? Maybe it's because we're in a gay relationship. Or in the gay community, there's no immediate expectation of something. Because I think I keep seeing on like social media, the guy always prepares some elaborate date, picnic, romantic flower thing for the girl.
Yes.
Whereas for gay couples, I think it's usually more communicated. It's like, do you want to do something? Should we do something?
Yes.
Most of the time, I don't think people do stuff. Or that I've seen. I don't know about the US. That might be different.
On to the next segment. It's our flash debate. Would you like to be for or against Valentine's Day? The celebrating of Valentine's Day.
I'll be for, because that's my vibe so far.
Is that actually your vibe? Give the people your honest opinion quickly. What do you actually think about Valentine's Day?
I have zero opinions. Just don't celebrate it on the day because it's more stress. Just celebrate it before.
Okay. That's his legitimate opinion. Anyway, so what's your best argument for Valentine's Day?
Like I said, it's a reminder to do something romantic if you've forgotten throughout. You haven't done anything romantic in the past month or 2 months. Do something now. Before the day. Don't do it on the day.
Rebuttal to that, if you haven't done something romantic and you need a day in a year to remind you, I think your relationship got bigger problems, Booze.
Some people are busy. When was the last time we went on a date before the most recent one?
We went on a whole trip away together.
Was that considered a date? Or
yes,
was that like
from
half?
The days where
that's like half work.
You were like, Spirit Island. And I even learned Spirit Island. I feel like me learning Spirit Island is part of the date. We played Spirit Island yesterday. That's like a date night. You don't see it as a date night, but like it's literally spending time together.
I'm so confused. How do you define a date then?
For me, it's like anything that I do on a regular basis, like daily. Let's say if I do it more than 2 times a week, it's probably not. It's not a date. Anything I do.
Then what is it?
It's just a chore. Like eating. I have to eat, right?
So if we do something more than twice a week, it's a chore together? So if we're sitting watching a Netflix series, together, you're like, it's a chore.
Maybe it doesn't go straight to chore territory, but it's like
spending time with me is a chore?
No. That's why, like, even like if at the other night when you went to sleep early and I came up and got a cuddle, I'm like, oh, this is like a cute, it feels like date vibes. It's like spending intentional time together, just like doing something we don't usually do. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you gotta not be so strict with these buckets. It's more of a spectrum than like put in buckets. Does that make sense? Yeah. What is a date for you?
I mean, everything that you said makes sense to me.
When's the last time that you think we went on a date?
Oh, that's a big question. I think the sandwich one, I do agree is a date because it took effort for me to specifically ask you, do you want to go out, like shopping or sandwich shop together?
Yes.
To me, that's a date because I normally originally didn't want to do it, but I did it for you
Yes.
because I'm like, oh, you would appreciate this, so I'm going to ask you to do it because I think it's something you appreciate.
Yes.
So I think maybe a date for me is something that you do together for the other person in the majority. So if I loved shopping and I go shopping every week and I'm just like, oh, do you want to go shopping with me? And in 1 week you finally say yes, I wouldn't consider that a date.
Interesting.
But if you asked me, do you want to go shopping? I would say that's a date because you're doing it for me, not out of obligation. I think this is where the chore bit comes in for you. You say instead of chore, maybe it's like, because it's not an obligation, it feels like a date because it's like, oh, he's intentionally making time
Yes.
for me.
Yes. Yes. Intentional time. But I don't necessarily think it has to be for the other person. There could be something that we enjoy doing together that we go out and do. Like, for example, when we're in Vietnam and we're going to want to go look for clothes together. That's still a date for me.
True.
I think it's lost its datey vibe because we do it every time we go to Vietnam. Does that make sense? So we think of it as going out rather than we're going out on a date together. Does that make sense?
Doing something to spend time together that's not born out of like obligation, maybe then.
That makes sense. So you define a date as something that's not born out of obligation.
I think it's like something intentionally taking time to do together that's not born out of obligation.
Okay, that makes sense. So your point was that Valentine's Day reminds people to do lovely things for each other. My biggest point against Valentine's Day is that I think too many people do it out of
obligation.
They don't actually think about why they're doing it. They just do it.
And that's better than not doing anything at all. Because you're saying that it's a detriment, right? That means it'll be better than not having it, is what you're saying.
Would it be better than not having it?
I think that having it is better than not having it. Apart from the fact that
I agree with that.
There's like for most average people, having Valentine's Day is better than nothing. But for some people where they expect like a yacht and like a picnic on a yacht or like a yacht party for Valentine's Day, they expect it, that's a bit much.
But some people are in
like
that
the people
class
that
of
expect
money.
like people that expect like their boyfriends to get them like a gold bracelet every single Valentine's Day, even when they like obviously the ones that can't afford it, is not healthy. And then also the thing that I don't like about Valentine's Day is that it can be social media is already like you compare yourself to other people, but on Valentine's Day it's like worse because some people have fancier lives and you think, oh, their life is so perfect, their boyfriend is so perfect, their perfect lives. Oh, it's basically what people think of us on social media. But people, yeah, but like way worse because we're not that like. Dude, are we gonna post any like super lovey-dovey stuff for Valentine's Day?
No,
we'll post like a super romantic reel and be like, this is so like not us, but we'll do it anyway.
You would do it just to make fun of it. I'm not doing it.
I'm gonna put like love hearts everywhere. I'm gonna
You
use
can
the
do
most generic.
You can make
generic
this real.
Valentine's Day filter, like Happy Valentine's Day, flowers, love hearts. I'll do that.
Anyway, can I point to your point about people breaking up, more likely to break up around Valentine's Day, which is a piece of research that you did. If you're in a not happy relationship, you're more likely to break up. That's what the research said, right?
Yes.
We don't think breaking up's a bad thing, so I guess.
Yeah, I was
maybe
like,
it's a good thing.
Is it a bad thing?
Not really. So we need to have more Valentine's Days, what you're saying, so we can help people break up out of relationships that they're not actually happy in, is what you're saying.
I don't think, like, the commercialization of it is bad, but the fact that it's just a reminder that, hey, if there's going to be one day in the entire year that you should do something, then it's like maybe around this period.
Yeah, they're just there to make money from you. So that's I think that was my point. But I think it's better to have Valentine's Day than to not to have it.
but you should celebrate it very conscientiously.
Yes. Okay, so what do you think you should do then if one partner wants to celebrate Valentine's Day and the other doesn't?
I think this is one of those things where it's like you kind of know your partner is the type to celebrate special days or not. You should know within the first year, because it's like, oh, you didn't do anything for my birthday, for anniversary, for Christmas. That means you're not a special day kind of person, which is like fine. But if you still expect something those days, which is perfectly fine, again, you should discuss it. Talk about it. Hey, Valentine's Day is coming up. I would like for you to do something for me.
Yes.
And then at least now they know, and they can't play dumb and be like, I didn't know you wanted anything. So once you express your wants, or communicate your needs, which is like the very basic thing in a relationship. You need to communicate what you need out of the relationship and what you want and what you expect. Because if you don't do it and they don't fulfill your imaginary needs that you never told them, the relationship's not going to go anywhere.
This is actually quite a complex topic about the idea of expressing your needs. So in the first few relationships that I was in, I think I was of the idea, I think you're kind of just raised in a certain way. So you don't have enough relationship experience. So you just kind of expect things to happen a certain way. So I just expected Valentine's Day would be celebrated. And I think it's not really until I met you that I realized, okay, how on earth are you supposed to know what I expect if I don't communicate it to you? If we're not lucky enough to have the same set of values and expectations, that we'll celebrate the same things, do things the same way. So if I don't tell you, like literally, for example, physical contact was a good one, right? If I don't tell you, hello, I need hugs, how are you supposed to know to give it to me if you're not the type of person to give hugs? And like growing up, I just assumed that people hug because that's what media shows you, right? Love and affection is shown through hugs and kisses and buying each other gifts, which is portrayed in a very certain way. So it's taken me so long to break out of the expectation that, oh, if I tell you to do it, it's less valuable to me because I had to tell him to do it. So that means he doesn't actually love me as much. And now I realize, oh, if I tell him and he actually listens and does it, that's actually him showing me that he loves me because he's listened to what I've told him that I need, which is like so 360 from the way I used to think. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
So it's so much more complex than when you say communicate your needs. I think a lot of people actually struggle to do that because I have a few friends that we've had these chats before where if I had to tell you what I need and you do it for me, then only after I told you, it doesn't mean as much to me. And like trying to get over that hump is not no small feat.
Yes, I agree. I think we had this issue before where it's like, oh, if I tell you to do something, it's very different to you just doing it like naturally.
Yes.
But also, like, I can understand where people come from when they say that. 100%. I can understand where people say, like, I don't want to tell them to get me a birthday present. I just want them to do it naturally because it feels better. It's the same as Valentine's Day. I don't want to tell them to get me chocolate because if they do it on their own as a surprise, it means more.
Yeah.
Actually, in that study that I saw, it was that it actually ruins the relationship when you know they're doing something like giving you a gift out of obligation.
Yes.
Than if they genuinely wanted to get you.
This is the complexity.
A gift.
Yes.
But I do think there is a fine line in between telling someone, hey, I would like a surprise for Valentine's Day, and then leaving the surprise up to them.
Yeah.
Versus I want X, Y, Z for Valentine's Day because they don't want to put in the effort don't want to put in the effort to come up with a surprise. I think there's a difference between don't want to come up with a surprise versus they can't. The ones that can't are the ones that don't have creativity, which is fine.
Yes.
Or they struggle with surprises. Yes. They struggle with a gift. Those people are fine because they want to get you something. They just don't know what because they can't think of anything. And then you have to help them a bit, which is fine. It's better that you get something. You can see that they're trying and they really are struggling. So like, okay, I like this gold bracelet from Tiffany. Okay, got it. Versus you're struggling and then they get you something from some like fake jade necklace that you're like, oh, it's kind of ugly because it's not your kind of fashion. And that's where it's different. It's like, how do you expect them to know your fashion? Right?
some people are like, oh, just ask their friends, ask their siblings, blah blah blah. I don't think everyone thinks in the same way and has like the ability to creatively solve around how to get the right gift. It's actually a really hard skill and something that stresses me out, because how are you supposed to know what the right thing to buy someone is? What's your advice then? Because you've just said you need to tell people
So let's
what
say
you want. Hey, let me finish my question. I know you know where I'm going, but I want to finish my question anyway. So you said you should tell people where, like, what you need, but at the same time you've said that research shows that when you know someone's doing something out of obligation, that's what ruins relationships. How do you balance that?
I think there's a difference between doing things out of obligation because you have to, versus doing things to make the other person happy even though you don't know what you're doing. There's, like I said, there's a person who wants to make the other person happy, they just don't know how, versus the one who's just like, I don't really care about this at all. Like, this is a waste of time. I don't want to be here. Like a negative ninny, versus one who's just like innocently clueless. It's normal. Most of the time, your partner cannot read your mind. Do not expect your partner to read your mind. That makes no sense. Yes, after you've been together for 10 years, you can kind of like read each other's minds, but even then, it's like, that's only after like constant communication.
Yes.
Whereas the other one is just like, I don't even like giving you this gift. Like, it's just like, whatever. Here's your gift for Valentine's Day, and then just like walks away because he doesn't care.
Yeah.
The one that doesn't care is a bit more toxic. The one that's like, I really want to get you something, I just don't know what would you like? Or give me a list of your, I think, to your question, how do you get that list, is also ask them for like a top 5 thing that they want, and you just randomly pick one of the 5 things. So it's a surprise. So this is where it's like, if you want to be in a successful relationship, you need to communicate.
It's a balance.
You just need to do it.
Yeah. Especially if you've learned they're not the type to know what to get.
You have to learn how to communicate.
Yeah.
You just, at some point, you can't just be like lazy, and you just have to tell them, which is fine. And not every relationship is the same. Do not compare your relationship with other people. Just focus on making your own relationship successful. Focus on making yourself happy. Focus on making sure that you're happy together as a couple.
Yes. That is wise advice from a wise little prince. Yeah, I think the biggest risk with Valentine's Day is you compare yourself to what everyone else is posting on social media, what everyone else is getting, but none of that really matters. You need to focus on like, what do you need in your relationship in order to feel love? So figure out what's enough for you, because it's enough for you, and not enough for you because of what you've seen on social media, that's what your expectation is.
Valentine's Day is about celebrating the relationship, right? Not just you.
Yes.
So that means both of you need to be,
oh my God, that's such a good point,
like clued in on the day and excited for what's happening on the day. If one of you is not excited for the day, then is Valentine's Day really celebrating the relationship?
Yes. I think that is such a good point. It's about love, and love
needs 2 people.
Yes.
A reel that I saw recently was overshare always. Always be talking, always be communicating, always be telling your partner what you're thinking, what you need, what's happening. You just need to keep doing it. It's tiring. It gets tiring, but you just need to keep doing it until they slowly understand you as a person, because you're a complex human being, right? That's 20, 30 years of history in you if you're 30 years old.
Yes.
30 years of history in you. And how do you expect someone to suddenly know all 30 years of you and what makes you and who you are from just, 5 dates?
And what you expect, all those
5 dates, and let's call it being in a relationship. No, you need to communicate.
Yeah.
They need to catch up on 30 years of your life. That's going to take a while.
Yeah, even now, sometimes I still feel like hesitancy to overshare with you, because I know it like tires you out, but I realize, I do need to tell him what I need. Otherwise, there's no other way you're going to know.
Yes.
Yeah. One thing that we have not talked about yet is the idea like singles on Valentine's Day. What are your thoughts around single people? Stay
inside. Don't go shopping. Don't open Instagram. Just stay inside. Close your eyes.
It is okay to be single.
Don't compare yourself to other people. Everyone has their own journey. Everyone's been single at least once on a Valentine's Day.
And remember, people are more likely to break up around Valentine's Day.
But also don't go wishing that other people break up. That's not healthy either.
Yes. What do you think of the statement? Society often shames people for being single, but celebrates people who could be in toxic relationships.
I think it's true because it mostly stems from when I think it's like Christianity, but it stems from the fact that society needs people to have relationships, to have babies in order to grow society. If everyone stopped having babies, society would die in literally one generation.
Yeah.
So that's why everyone pushes, that's why you have goddesses of fertility, gods of fertility, because you need them to encourage people to reproduce. And that's kind of ish what Valentine's Day is as well. It's reminding people, hey, you should really be making babies because if you don't, we're kind of screwed as a society.
Soon we might have like more IVF. Then you don't need two people to make babies. You don't necessarily need to be in a relationship. Like we just met a guy who IVF has
Berlin
kids.
Sun.
Yeah, doesn't you don't need a partner, so you can technically be single parents. I think are going to become more common, and like in order to upkeep society's needs to have children, so that we don't die out as a race. Okay, now we shall play a game. I'm just going to give you a bunch of options, and you need to tell me which one you would rather prefer. So we'll start with gifts. Chocolates or flowers?
Is this good chocolates or bad chocolates or in general?
You can think of the best
flowers.
Best one. Oh, okay. I was going to get you Whittaker's chocolates. Okay. Flowers or new clothes?
Why is this so hard?
This is not that difficult.
Why is this so hard? Flowers?
Interesting. Flowers or a handwritten love letter?
Flowers.
You don't want a handwritten love letter? Okay, what happens if I handwrite you a love letter? Are you going to read it and cringe and cry?
Flower.
No, can you please elaborate? Why are you so certain of the last one? You do not want a handwritten love letter. Why? What scares you about a handwritten love letter?
Nothing scares me. It's like
you look petrified.
It's like I don't get what's the point of writing something where you can just tell it to me.
Well, if I sit down and hold your hand and tell you, are you going to listen to me?
No.
There we go.
So why do you think writing it would be any better?
Because I would force you to read it out loud.
I love you so much. We've been together for 2 years. You mean the world to me. I haven't met anyone else like you. You've opened my eyes ever since we've been together.
He's really good at writing these. Really?
I would not have been the person I am today without you. True. I love you so much. I hope we're together forever. Love, Peter.
Oh, I love you too. That was a really sweet love letter. Can you write me one?
I just wrote it on the couch. Right there.
Okay. Okay. Food options for a date. McDonald's or picnic in the park?
McDonald's.
McDonald's or fine dining at a restaurant?
Fine dining.
Fine dining or going to a street food night market?
Are we spending the same amount? Because whenever we go to street food night markets, we never spend because they're expensive.
Okay, money's not a consideration. I'm really rich. This is imaginary scenario.
Oh, okay. Daddy. Sugar daddy.
Fine dining or street food night market?
Street food.
Okay, there we go. And then the last one is date activities. Spa date or movie date? Don't make that obnoxious sound into the microphone.
Movie date.
Yeah, I was like, you hate spas. Why is this taking so long? Movie date or hiking date?
Movie date.
Movie date or go-karting date?
Movie date.
Really? Not go-karting date?
I've never been go-karting.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
You should take me to go-karting.
I will. We'll go somewhere in Asia where it's cheap and a bit less safe, and I'll buy insurance for you.
Okay.
That's it. That's all my games.
Oh, that was fun. I want to make more.
You ready for our last segment? Have you done the he's a 10 one or not? Have you prepared?
Yeah. So he's a 10, but he's left-handed.
Yeah, he's an 11.
Okay.
He's a 10, but doesn't know how to cook rice in a pot properly.
10. He's a 10, but he shits twice a day.
Hey, I have stomach issues. That's like an 8. He's a 10, but the activity he likes to do most together is playing the same board game that you've already played 10 times before.
12, 15. It's perfect. Nah. He's a 10, but he can't reach the top shelf without a stool.
Rude ass bitch. These shelves are tall. Still a 10. I like my short boys. They're cute. He's a 10, but he's a moody ass bitch.
7. He's a 10, but he farts every hour. On the dot.
That's because we've been eating too much vegetables.
It's called bean assist.
Yeah, like a 6. He's a 10, but he's been married before and then divorced.
It means he knows loyalty.
Divorce does not sound like loyalty, my dear.
It means he's serious about relationships. It means he's not playing. 11.
Are you sure?
11.
So if I was married and divorced before, what would you think?
There's a lot of baggage. He's a 10, but he leaves the door open when he shits. So the entire apartment smells like...
And doesn't turn on the extractor fan.
Yeah.
Hey, that's because I have ADHD and I'm just like focused on like my tummy pain and I just need to poop. I'm not thinking about gassing you. It's like probably a 6.
I think it's like a 3.
He's a 10, but after he's finished jacking off, he doesn't put his tissues in the bin.
I throw them in the sink.
That's after I told you. I was like, okay, you need to stop putting them on the bedside table because
it's not my fault. I produce a lot. Okay.
It like ferments overnight, and then when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I smell is like, oh, it smells like dead fish.
A lot is produced. It's not my fault. I like the smell. I need that on my perfume. 12. Perfect. There's nothing wrong with it.
You actually were like, oh, I like this musty smelling perfume.
He's a 10, but he undersalts everything he cooks.
That's like 12. He's taking care of my health so I don't get high blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
This last one is not you, but he's a 10, but doesn't wipe his ass properly after he shits, and there are shit stains on his underwear.
It's like a 1. I cannot. I'd puke. He's a 10, but his family has a history of diabetes, so you have to double check everything you eat. Now you can't eat anything fun anymore.
Really? Does that make you sad? I'm not stopping you from eating it.
But you make me feel bad.
Why?
Because I'm the only one eating unhealthy stuff. And you have to eat it as well. You have to join me, and we have to get fat together. Not just
this sounds like you're just trying to kill me.
I want to eat like deep fried chips and deep fried nuggets.
We can eat them in moderation.
No, not moderation. I want to eat it until we fat. No moderation.
You're the one who's like, I'm not eating lunch today because I don't want to put on the calories. I'm going to eat oats.
That is true. I eat oats like 80% of the time.
That's like a 13. Oh, look how healthy this boy eats. Oh, so attractive. That's it. I think that's the end of this episode.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for our Valentine's Day episode.
Our Valentine's Day special. I hope you guys have
a wonderful Valentine's Day, and I hope you celebrate it in a sustainable way. Love you guys. See you next time.
Bye, friends.
Thanks for watching until the end of the video. We hope you guys enjoyed it.
If there's anything you guys want us to discuss, please leave it in the comments below. See you next time.